Feeling lost doesn't always mean that you're going the wrong way. Often it can really mean that you're just in between the space where you were to who you are becoming. That journey, that in between motion, that process in between of who you previously were to who you're trying to be currently right now is where you are struggling at, is where old habits can maybe not be fitting you anymore and a new direction is not fully clear. We don't always have clarity, right? But it's not to say that you're not going the right way, but right now you're just searching for direction. Right now you might feel lost, but you're not. You're just becoming who you're trying to be. And discomfort is often the transition. Discomfort can often be the vehicle between those two paths, between point A to point B, between who you were and who you are trying to be. The in between feels confusing because nothing fully fits. Nothing that you used to do is fitting into the new life that you are trying to create. You often continue to think about the mistakes that you used to do or the bad habits that you used to have, and you're trying to break those. And sometimes you go back to it. We often do, right? But it doesn't mean that we cannot fully turn away from it. It might take time. It might not be overnight, but eventually and surely you will be greater. You will find value. You will do the things that you are wanting to achieve. But it's just often in between that who you were and who you are becoming is where we become lost. Is where we can have a fork in the road and we can either go the right way or we can go the wrong way. We can go the hard way or we can take shortcuts and try to get there in a quicker way, the easier way. Right? But discomfort is often that vehicle that's going to get you there. You feel you can feel unstable in this type of season, right? Because you're not knowing which way you're going to go. But I can assure you that if you are continuing to do the right things, if you're continuing to try to work on yourself and build good habits, I can tell you right now that you will be somebody. You will be someone better. You might not be the best at everything that you do, but you will be better. And you have to see that you cannot judge yourself based off of other people. You have to judge yourself based off of who you were. Judge yourself based off of yourself, right? Because if you were able to do 10 push-ups last week and do 15 this week, that is growth. If you were making 60,000 last year and making 80,000 this year, that is growth. If you were struggling with having discipline to do the right things, to stop procrastinating at one point in time, and you are doing what it takes to do what needs to be done, then that is growth. So clarity usually comes after change, not before. Clarity comes after you have realized that you have come a certain way, not before. Clarity comes often whenever you have made that decision to move forward, whether it felt right or not before. Clarity lags behind growth. Clarity comes after decision. We rush, but people often get in panic. People have anxiety. People get beside themselves because they want to rush that process, though. They want to often go backwards rather than forward, because backwards means comfort. Forward means unclear. Forward means growth. Forward means discipline. Forward means unknown environments, unknown territory. So you don't always know. So people often want to go backwards. People want to rush decisions. And then when those decisions don't work, whenever you haven't even given it any time, you give it a month, you give it a couple weeks, and then you want to give up. You have to continue to move forward, continue to make that decision each and every day, right? You can grow numb for discomfort. You often will want to stay in comfort. We then get into a panic because we are trying to find a quick and fast solution to things, but there is none. There is no fast way of doing it. Yes, it might seem quicker for others than it does for you, but you have to think about how long did you think about even wanting to be better before you actually thought about it, right? How long did you actually take the steps to be better, right, before you actually thought about it? So a lot of us can be living in the norm for years and years and years, and then whenever you become aware, whenever that blindfold comes off and it doesn't happen in a year, it doesn't happen in 2 years for you, then you want to give up. Or it doesn't happen in 3 years for you, then you want to give up. But it might take that extra time. It might take longer. But you have to realize that there was a lot of time where you were undisciplined. There was a lot of time where you weren't trying to be better. There was a lot of time where you were okay with being mediocre. So you have to pay your dues. You have to sacrifice now in order to get past that. In order to get whatever you were awakened to. In order to get whatever you realized that you were actually meant to have. Right? So most people don't get lost. They just sit still long enough. They just sit still long enough to realize that I am not where I'm supposed to be. Or you are sitting still long enough to where you lose all motivation. Yes, I might feel motivated at times to go to the gym, but am I wanting to go to the gym every day? No. I might feel at times motivated to make these YouTube videos, but do I always want to make YouTube videos? No. I might feel motivated to go to work sometimes, but do I always want to go to work? No. But you have to see it like this, though. I'm still posting daily. I'm still hitting the gym consistently. I'm still going to work, right? I'm still doing the things that I don't always want to do because at some point, things are going to feel like work. Or, right, whenever you find a thing that you really want to do, that you love, it's not work anymore. But until you hit that point, things are going to feel like work. Being disciplined is going to feel like work. Having self-motivation is going to feel like work. Trying to read more is going to feel like work until it doesn't, until the process pays you back, until that progress ends up falling in love with you. And then now you have that hand-in-hand relationship. You're not always butting heads and trying to fight the progress. Now you are in love with the process. Now you are trying to follow through with the process. Now you are taking the correct steps in the process. Because I don't think growth is really meant to feel certain all the time. And I had to come to that realization, and it was hard because I often felt as if I'm supposed to know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I often felt as if as when I grew up, I was going to know exactly where I was going to be. I was going to do exactly as I was going to say. But God has different plans, and whenever God has different plans, those plans will prevail one way or another. Whether they happen now, whether they happen later, whether he lets you have your moment now or he lets you have your moment later. You have to go through whatever your story is and what your testimony will be. Because if you're feeling lost right now, right, just slow down because you're not really lost. You might actually just be in between the version of who you were and who you were trying to become. But I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me, man. Know that you are loved and blessed. Please make sure to support the channel by commenting, and subscribing to it. And I hope y'all catch me on the next one.